In this video, I'll be showing you how to make your first data dashboards. Data dashboards are another way that data analysts present statistical data. Dashboards are interactive, and you'll see what I mean by that in just a moment. But let's dive right into this one. If you scroll down in the assignment, you'll see there's a data dashboard available. Click on that, and it will generate a copy of the data dashboard for you when you click on make a copy. You'll probably want to give it some kind of a unique name. I'm going to give it a name that I can find later because it's going to wind up in your drive and you're going to have to go back and look at it. It's got 4 fields, as we refer to them: campus, course, section, and current score. Here in the first row, this is how they have to be set up to work properly. With that done, I'm going to go ahead and start setting up the dashboard. I have my own copy now in my own drive. Do make sure you're logged into your college account so you can find things as you move along through this. There's a new location from prior terms. This material is now at lookerstudio.google.com. At some point in this process, you'll probably be asked some questions. I suspect it will come up right after you try to set up a data source. And so that will be our first step. Data sources is the top middle. I'm going to click on data sources. Yours will probably be blank. You don't have data sources. I do. And if I scroll to the right, I'll be able to add a new data source to my spreadsheet over here. Sorry, I'll be able to add that. I moved it. Create. Go to create. Create data source. At this point, my screen will go directly to the connectors. But as a first-time user of Looker Studio, you will probably see a different screen. You will probably see a screen that looks something like this. To get started, let's complete your account setup. And it will say, it'll be blank. Enter Micronesia, College of Micronesia-FSM, and agree to the terms of service. Then click on Continue at the lower right. After you've done that, another screen will undoubtedly show up, one that looks like this. For now, I'd recommend just saying no. You can always go back and change these to later if you happen to become a heavier user of Looker Studio and want to keep up with updates. But for now, you can just say no and continue. You will then be able to be dropped back into the screen that looks like this. When you click though on the Google Sheets attachment or later, you may see a pop-up blocker, especially if you're using Windows. Watch for those just underneath your URL link bar at the top of the screen. Though I don't have them on my computer because I disabled them for Looker Studio, so that's no problem. But you could get pop-up blockers. Watch for those. So I'll now click on Google Sheets. I'm looking for the spreadsheet that's going to go into my data dashboard, and there's the one I just set up, TLL02. All I have to do at this point is click on Connect. And Looker Studio has set up my initial fields for this particular exercise. The current score, there's a drop-down menu right here. I'm going to make this a numeric field it's numeric, and I'm not going to use the sum. I'm going to use the average. You'll notice you have many of the same functions that you saw earlier in the course. The average is the mean, the count is the sample size, the min, the max, the median, the standard deviation, and then the variance, which is just the square of the standard deviation. So these packages also do statistics. But for the current score, I want the average. For the others, I don't need any particular setting. But I'll do one more thing. I'm going to add a field. Up here where it says plus, add a field. I'm going to click on add a field, and I'm going to add a calculated field. I'll give my field a name. I'm going to call this the score decade. You'll see why I call it that in a minute. Down here I'm going to type in the formula, just down there. Now these formulas are similar to spreadsheet formulas, but unfortunately they're slightly different in the functions they use, and they don't start with an equals. I'm going to type 10 times floor. Floor is a form of a minimum function for a data set. And then I'm going to put in the current score field. I can just tap that in over here. That's putting in the current score. And then I'm going to divide by 10. I know that looks kind of odd, but what I'm doing is dividing the score by 10, round integer, truncating it so that I have only integer values from 1 to 10, and then multiplying by 10, so they'll be from, basically from 0 to 100 is what I'll get out of this. And this will be my score decade function. Scroll down, and if you see a green check, then your function is correct in terms of syntax. The syntax is correct. Click on Save, and then at the bottom click on Close, and it should show up here. If you ever have to edit a function, you just click on the FX, and then once again you have to scroll down to close it to get back to this screen. I've now got my basic data set up. I'll click on Create Report. If nothing happens when you click on Create Report, then you have a pop-up blocker, and there'll be a little message that appears just under the URL, under the link, the address bar as it's sometimes referred to, that says block the pop-up from. Click on that and allow pop-ups for Looker Studio. So I'll click on Create Report, and Looker Studio will build the beginning of a report for me, a rudimentary report. It's even given me my first table over here. I'll probably make it a little longer. I do want to be able to see the table. And you can see these are my data. We call those data fields, or dimensions in this case, in some cases. And this is a good start, but that's not quite what I want to see. This is campus and record counts. So I'm going to go down and change the dimension. For the dimension, I actually want the courses, and so I'll set up courses. Now the courses appear in my table. And over here I'm going to set up the section. So courses and sections appear. And it looks like I might have to make my table a little wider in order to see the whole course name. I'll scroll down. I don't want the record count. The most useful statistic will be to take that current score and tell me what the average is for that. If it's not set to average, you can click here and set it to average, but it should be, because back at the other screen we told it, the prior screen, we told it we wanted the average. So it's reporting the average score. But if you look closely, the order of the courses doesn't make any sense. It's putting it in score order. So it's also got too many rows. It's going way down off the page. So I'll set this down to about 20 rows per page. I'll go ahead and have it show a summary row at the bottom. It's giving me the grand totals of the average score, the overall average. And for the sort, I'm going to tell it to go ahead and sort by course. And I'm going to put it in ascending orders. That's the order in which people would probably use it. Down here, I won't probably set up a secondary sort, but I could have potentially set up a secondary one. That would have to be ascending in order. But I'm going to scroll back up. I'm going to go ahead and turn on optional metric. Back farther up. I'm going to see drill down. I'm going to turn on drill down. And the section disappears. It's not completely disappeared. What's happened is I can now click on the arrow and drill down from the course to the section level, and both of them are showing up in order. They're both now being kept in uh, ascending order. Course is a primary and section is a secondary sort, so they both show up in alphabetic order. Don't need any filters yet. And I usually go over to style. I don't really need those numbers on this side, so I can go through and delete those row numbers on this table if I wish to. They'll be down here. I'm going to farther down this page. I have to go looking for that one again. But I'll eventually probably get rid of those row numbers on this guy. That's the wrap text, the title. Let's see what we're in here for this guy. Bold, general, strip text. I'll find it later. Row numbers. Table body, row numbers. I tend to get rid of the row numbers. They're not that important in this kind of application, but they're available if you need them. The next thing I'm going to do is set up an actual chart. This is really just a table rather than a chart. So to do that, and I now have plenty of space, so let me squeeze this back just a little since I moved sections down. I go to add a chart. In Looker Studio, tables are also charts. So that's a bit of a different use of the word chart. It could be a table, it could be a graph. I'm just going to choose a column chart here. And I'm going to put that column chart. I have to tell it where I want it. Put it right there. Now the column chart is going to start off with all the courses. That's not what I want. For my dimension, I'm going to put in the score decade. That's the score decade. The metric will be I don't want the current score. That's at the bottom already. I want the record count. How many records at each grade? But if you look closely, the grades aren't in order. These are really grades if you think about it. They're not in order currently. So to get them in order, I've got to go down to sort and tell it to sort this by the score decade. Now I've got the scores 90, 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, all the way down to 10. I'm missing one. So to get that one back, I'm going to go over to style. Watch for this one. I'm going to go over to style, scroll up. It's hiding up there. I'm going to add one more bar. And there's the missing bar. There's the zeros in our set. So this is a grade distribution. Perfects at 100%. Those in the 90s, 80s. And these scores at 0 are the ones below 10. They're not all 0. They're from 0 to 9. But it shows the distribution. It's a histogram and showing the distribution of the grades. Another thing we often add to a dashboard is a control. I'm going to add a fixed size list control. I'm going to drop that in just right here. I can put it in anywhere I want to. And right now it's set to be the score decade. I don't want that. I'm going to set the control to be campus. Now I've got the campuses in there. And the metric, that's down here, that just shows me how many records from each campus. A more useful metric for an administrator would be the current score. Scroll down here, the current score, average. And I'll go ahead and not show compact numbers. So now I can see the average at each campus. The way this control works is I can say, well, just show me Koshai campus. And there's Koshai campus. Okay, just show me the online campus. And it's showing me the histogram for whichever campus I select or whichever combination I select. And if I press the minus, I'll see all of the campuses. I can have a search box. In this case, I can see all of the campuses. So I'll probably go over to style again and tell it, no, just drop that search box. It's wasting space. I don't need it. But the search box is useful if you have a lot of different rows in your control. So the control lets me control what campus I see, and then I can determine, I can study a particular campus. I'll add another just to show you how these work. I'm going to add a scorecard. A scorecard is just a single number, and scorecards are useful for a number of different purposes. In this case, it's showing me the total number of records, but more probably useful is the overall average maybe. So I'll go in and just change the metric to be the current score again. That's all that is, current score, the average. It shows me the average current score. And I can have other scorecards, they're called, single values. But they show me things like the current score. And let me add one more. uh, add in add in a chart, a scorecard, just to show you the sort of things you can do with these scorecards. I've got another scorecard. I'm going to set the metric again to current score, but I'm going to click on this pencil and tell it, go ahead and tell me the standard deviation. How much spread is there in the scores? And so I can see that the spread is about 26 points. The average at the institution is 71, and the spread is about 26 points. And I can also then look, if I look at a particular campus, like I decide to look at True Campus, I'll see the average is 68, the standard deviation is still about 27. Yap Campus, average 59, spread 21, a little bit narrower. So, and this data is hypothetical, theoretical data. As they say in television movies, it's based on real events, but some parts of it have been fictionalized. But it does show you how a dashboard works. So I've got my basic dashboard layout. I can see the distribution of scores at a campus. I can see the scores. I can even click on these current score up here, and it sorts the column high to low, or if I click it again, low to high. These are interactive, and they can be interacted with by someone. One other area some people like to work on, they sometimes want to have some particular style or look to it. Let me click on more. There's themes over here, and so you can pick, right now we're in the default theme, but maybe you want a different theme. Feel free to select a different theme. There's another theme I could use, and all the colors have changed. Maybe it looks a little nicer now. What the user will see is this. They'll see a dashboard. They can drill down and they can see this section. They can drill up. You click on a particular, just one, you'll get the distribution of scores in that particular course. There's the distribution of scores, again, theoretically, hypothetically. The average in the course, the current, this one, we should have labeled that standard deviation, but that's our standard deviation. We can change that label. And this must be an online course because the only campus showing is online. So these are very versatile tools for analyzing data. If I want to know, all right, well, where are all of these zeros occurring? I can click on that zero column. Those are interactive too. And 4 campuses have rows in the data set that have a 0 score. Essentially, students would show a 0 in that particular course somewhere. And these are in fact, the key ones are here. So that means that that's probably an area that needs some tutorial assistance. We can reach out to those students and help them. So dashboards are, always give your dashboard a name. I haven't done that, but I've got to edit, and then you can just give it a name. Let me delete that, double click in there and delete that. And this maybe is my data dashboard for data. Now, statisticians these days are usually the ones making these dashboards because, as you saw, we're dealing with some statistical concepts. But we can then share this, as we could share anything else. We can put in the names of people we want to share it with, and we can share the dashboard, and then they can access just the dashboard. It's all set up for them, and they can explore it. These have really replaced presentations. Presentations have been replaced to a large extent by dashboards. But that would be your first data dashboard, and the idea of this exercise is to just get you making a dashboard and knowing roughly how to make a basic dashboard, so that if someone were to ask you about data dashboard, you can say, yeah, I've actually made one. So you'll have you won't be caught out not knowing about this new thing that's replaced presentations in many cases. Today we often use these instead of presentations because when someone asks a question, well, where are those 90s happening? We can immediately say, these are where they're happening, these are the courses that you're seeing these kind of scores in. So they're much more flexible than your typical presentation, slide presentation, which is static, not dynamic like this. Big companies use these all the time, like Amazon and others, to keep track of what's happening in their business. Well, that's data dashboards. Don't try to share it with me. It's too complicated. You can't really share it into Canvas. It won't work. Just make a screenshot. Go to takeascreenshot.org, which we've talked about, takeascreenshot.org. If you search for takeascreenshot.org, you'll see it's probably the top hit in Google, and if you click on it, it'll show you how to make a screenshot, and then upload that screenshot in Canvas. That's how you submit this assignment. Let me know if you have any difficulties. Have fun. Make a data dashboard. All you have to do is follow what I did. Just do what I did, and then make a screenshot and submit that. But have some fun building these. They're very exciting, and they're the cutting edge of data analysis, data exploration, and statistics. Well, I thank you for watching.